Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Top Agent Podcast. I am one half of your hosting team, Ryan Espy, and I'm joined as usual by Miss Stacy Regula. How are you doing today, Stacy?
I am very cold. How are you?
Also cold, but we are in Manitoba. But we're not talking to somebody from Manitoba today. Today, we are joined by Holly Green, and Holly primarily services the Halifax, Dartmouth area, but coming to us today from, well, let's bring her in. Holly, hello in Newfoundland.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I am great. I am doing great.
So, of course, we know that you are an eXp agent. So, let's get right into our interview because we like to dig into a little bit about your history, what makes you tick, and what led you to certain aspects of your life. So, number one, right off the bat, is can you tell us a little bit about you and maybe what your life looked like before real estate?
Absolutely. So currently, I'm a realtor with my husband. We have a team in Nova Scotia. Previous to that, I ran a family business in adventure tourism in Newfoundland. So I'm a scuba instructor, and I also did snorkeling with humpback whales and all kinds of really fun stuff here in Newfoundland for a long time. And then I had a bunch of kids, just two, but it feels like a lot. And the job was a bit demanding in the summer. So we decided to uproot and move to Halifax, where I actually did a stint in recruitment, which is funny. So I worked in corporate recruitment for just over a year for a company there. And I actually worked in Toronto remotely and realized that going from adventure tourism to corporate wasn't really a great transition, but I learned a lot. And Jamie, my husband, was a realtor 12 years. So he'd been a realtor for a long time and had always wanted me to join him. And it was really at that point that, the family thing where dropping the kids off before work and trying to have a little bit more flexibility for sick days, all those sort of things. I was like, you know what? Why not? Recruitment and real estate had a lot of parallels. Running a business and being a realtor had a lot of parallels. So I said, screw it, let's do it.
Now, I got to ask a follow-up question because what kind of challenges come with raising kids while you are trying to go out there and do adventure tourism and snorkel with humpback whales?
So, there's a lot, and it kind of also came down to risk and safety. And so we also brought people scuba diving under icebergs. Like, we did some really crazy stuff.
Holy cow.
And primarily in Newfoundland, we have a 2-month window of the summer. And for tourism, that's where we have to make money. So 4 months of the year, it's a month preparing, 2 months where we're working, 14, 16-hour days, because, of course, it's a full experience. After you do the tours, then you do the dinner, then you do the George Street, which is a street with the most pubs in North America, just to get up again, to get the boats ready, get the gear ready, and take people on adventures again. So having children, the 2 months of the summer, you just really don't see them. You lose that time.
Wow. So you were initially then drawn to real estate by your spouse. Were you hesitant at all, or you were like, I feel like this is a job that I would enjoy, or was it just kind of a situational thing?
It was years that he was telling me to get into it. As soon as I got out of the family business, he was like, just get into real estate. But I was also really hesitant to put all the eggs in one basket, So I just didn't really feel like it made sense for our family. I felt we needed to kind of diversify our jobs. In Newfoundland, the market was a lot different than Nova Scotia. So it was very dependent on oil and gas. And it was not really stable. So it was hard to then both of us be working in real estate. So I just kind of brushed it off and was like, I'm going to do my own thing. Had a bit of a complex from working in a family business for so long as well, I think. So I was like, I got to do my own thing. But yeah, after doing recruitment, seeing the parallels, and also realizing that I work really hard. I'm a very effective worker. And when you work for a corporation, you don't get compensated, even if you're a really hard, diligent person, hardworking person. So I realized that my work ethic was just not designed to be in a corporation. Real estate was never about houses for me, which I know it is for some people. They're really excited about the house piece, and they're romantic about finding that for people. But for me, I'm really passionate about business. So seeing the opportunity to help him build a business, we had both been talking business our entire relationship, me in tourism and him in real estate. So I was just excited for the opportunity to be able to kind of bring my business knowledge into his business, because I don't know if you know Jamie very well, but we're complete opposites. We run very different types of business. So it was really cool to bring that together and grow the team together that way.
So how long have you actually been in real estate?
Just over 2 years.
Now, were you always with eXp, or did you start with some other company?
Yeah, so we were with KW.
Okay.
Oh.
Jamie was the productivity coach there for a few years in Halifax. So yeah, we lived and breathed the KW model for a long time as a family.
What brought you to eXp?
So the opportunity for rev share. So as I mentioned, Jamie was a productivity coach. Also has really deep connections and relationships with people. So when people got into real estate, they would say, "Hey, Jamie, where are you to?" And he'd be like, "I'm a KW." They'd come to KW and he'd get profit share, which I don't know if you're familiar with that model, but very low amount of money, but still better than most, you know? And he had a real passion with helping people build their business. So getting them going in real estate, because most people in our market, and I think anyway, in general, fail in the first 6 to 12 months. And not because they're not working, it's because they're not doing the right things. So because he was so passionate about that, when we learned about the eXp model, Chris introduced it to Jamie. And once he really looked into it and seen the impact that he could have on a lot of people, and I mean, $2,800 a year is not going to make or break anybody, but just that little bit of compensation for the work that he was already doing, and to be able to teach people to do exactly what he was doing, and seeing that big picture impact and saying, you know, I'm going to help 100 other agents help 100 other agents. Like, it's not about me anymore. For our team as well, when you're on a team, when you run a team, you kind of got to think about them. So when we looked at the eXp model as an opportunity for our agents who we love, they're really family, and looked at the KW model, the eXp model just gave them so much more opportunity. So even though KW had a great model where you were getting some profit share, it didn't have the same revenue share piece, nor did it prepare for your retirement. So yeah, when we realized it wasn't about us anymore and the bigger impact that we would be able to have by making this switch, it was a no-brainer. We had to go.
Wow. So did you two both dive right into the revenue share aspect of eXp right away then when you joined? Like, you started doing agent attraction?
Yeah. So Jamie had quite a big network, being in the business for 12 years. And I will talk to anyone. The more, the better. So we both dove into it very differently and are building our downlines differently. We joined separately. I joined under him, which I don't know if I would recommend that, but we did it and now we know better. So we're teaching people better. But yeah, so his downline is growing very substantially, really, really well, which is really exciting. And I am building my own, but really more using my desire to bring people together to help other agents in our downline attract more agents, if that makes sense. So I do a lot of events and mixers, and I touch a lot of people. A lot of people know about eXp from me, but I don't go deep with people like a lot of the other agents in our group. So we kind of have a cool dynamic where I wish we were in the same group. Me and Jamie were the same kind of entity because the levels, but yeah, I think it benefits both of us how we go about doing it all.
It's interesting because the pressure, your line will put pressure on him to increase his other lines, so to speak.
That's right. Yeah, it's cool. I love the way that it works. It's really fun. I mean, Chris is over Jamie, and Chris is like, get into 100. So, you know, whenever you're ready.
So as far as traditional real estate goes, what are you doing to adapt to a changing market?
Oh, well, we love changing. We thrive in change. If anything becomes too normal, we're like, what are we going to do? We actually moved to Nova Scotia with a 3-week-old, and I quit my family business all at the same time. So we kind of like change. Yeah, we like doing ridiculous things. So the market has always changed. So for Jamie being in the Newfoundland market, it was a lot of change for him. So he's seen it in all the ways over the, whatever it was, 7 years that he was doing real estate here, really bad, where nothing was selling. And, you know, every minute your house is losing value. And then moving to Halifax, I joined in the pandemic. So Jamie was like, I can't really help you because I've never seen this before. So we were really learning that together, which was fun. We like working together. So it was kind of fun to have a team and be together, kind of figuring it all out. We have always been all about Sphere and database lead generation. We have never depended on a brokerage or a group to feed us leads, or even our vendors. I mean, we have great relationships and we get referrals from them, and that's wonderful. We get referrals from other parts of the country as well, which is wonderful. But the real bread and butter to our business and to all of our agents' business is your Sphere referrals. Because of that, I feel like we haven't found as big of a impact with the changing market as a lot of others have, because we've done the work. You know,
it's really good advice. So speaking of advice, what advice could you give agents looking to become top producers?
Ooh, that's a good one. Never skip lead gen day. Never. I like leg day. Like, lead gen has to be the main thing that you do. If you have no leads, you have no business. So that is a really good thing for a top producer. I mean, eXp agents, rev share is just such a big piece of our life. It has a lot of impact. So lead gen from a house perspective and lead gen from an attraction perspective.
Yep.
Don't skip lead gen.
That's great.
Now, when you said lead gen day, does that mean that you schedule like a specific day in a week, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah.
So everyone's life looks differently, and I need to be respectful and understand that running a team, not everyone's day can look like mine. For me, when I first started, the first 6 months, I did 4 hours of lead gen every day, Monday to Friday. It was crazy. But ultimately, I wanted to get my business off the ground as fast as possible. And the more people you talk to, the more deals that you get. Running a team, we also do provide some leads to our team. So I also had a role of leads manager. So I didn't service as many leads as I was generating, which was great. But yeah, I put a lot of time into it. Now I do 2 hours of lead gen every day. So I do 10 hours a week. And if you can't do 2 hours a day, if you have another job, if you have other responsibilities and you can't do it every single day, then at least get those hours in. You need to get the 8 to 10 hours in every single week, regardless of what that looks like for you. And a lot of people on our team, they do kind of time block 2 days a week where they do bulk lead gen, because they can kind of just like sit, get in that headspace, find a place that's quiet and get it done. But yeah, I like the little bit every day.
So are you phoning people, or like traditional cold calling, or are you reaching out on social media, or what does that kind of look like?
All of the above.
Yeah.
So I started out cold messaging on LinkedIn. So I think I sent 700 messages in 2 weeks. I got kicked out a couple times.
Wow.
But because my
LinkedIn,
out of LinkedIn, yeah, they shut down my profile. They were like, "You're spamming." I'm like, "No, I'm a real person. I'm not a robot." But because I was in recruitment, part of my job was to build my LinkedIn database. So I was like, you know what? I spent 1.5 years doing this. I may as well pound it out for real estate. And then I also do cold calling, warm calling. So any website leads that we get, I also call. And then just hammering anybody that we know. And hammering kind of sounds bad, but quarterly outreach to every single person that is a relevant lead in the database, whether they own a home or are new buyers or whatever, sending them relevant information about the market. And yeah, so that's mostly what it is database and sphere. But I also did some door knocking. I tried to farm, but that's kind of the long game. I really love doing it because I love meeting new people and talking to my neighbors. But ultimately, when you're looking at ways to make money quicker, door knocking really isn't the thing, or at least farming is not the thing. If I want to knock 1,000 doors a week or whatever, if I want to make those really big numbers goals, but I was really trying to build more of a community in my community. So I was farming it more so, which is a long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what role do you feel social media is playing now in the real estate business?
Well, it's funny you said that because I was just thinking I missed social media. I think it's huge. Without it being a lead generating source for me, I just enjoy being on social media, but I've got deals just from being weird.
Wow. That's
I think it just, I think it's incredibly important because of that's where kind of everyone is. So if you're looking for community, you can build that really easily on social media. So I think it's important to stay active. I don't think you need to follow anyone else's template of how they do things. I think when people are like, I'm your social media manager and I'm just going to template your stuff, I think the biggest thing that's missing in social media is that personal aspect. They want to connect with you. They want you to be weird. They want to know that they can trust you. And you can only do that by being your authentic weird self.
You know what? I completely agree with you. And I always kind of preach that it's not an opportunity for you to just put your listings up as an advertisement every day. You have to have some kind of engaging content that people want to see.
Yeah, I think it's important to post your listings and your solds, just like to build a little bit of credibility as a touch to your sphere. People are who already know you. They're like, oh yeah, Holly's doing good. That's great. I'm going to support her too, But it can't only be that. They can look at listings on MLS.
Yeah.
I always find it really weird when I scroll through someone's feed and I'm like, wait a second. But every platform's different too. Like Facebook is different than LinkedIn, is different than Instagram, is different than TikTok for sure. I haven't really dove into TikTok, but
no, Ryan's big on the TikTok, but I don't know, it's challenging. So yeah.
I just lose so much of my time.
Yeah.
I'm like
the videos and everything, and
I'm like, I'm gonna look for some inspiration. Like 2 hours later, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't engaged with anyone.
No,
but
just
I've watched
watching dogs.
Yes. 400 dancing videos.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
No.
So most of the time I spend on social media, I'm actually engaging with people, which I also think is pretty cool because Jamie's like, oh, you're always on Instagram. I'm like, do you know how many messages I'm sending? And it's not just like, hey, come to eXp. It's really like, oh my God, your dog is so cute, or I love that outfit, or whatever. Where are you to now? But yeah, I think it's really, really important as a way to connect. And I think people find more connection in you on social media than they do with their uncle who may be a realtor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you do the we've been talking about this, so like the Thanksgiving or Christmas kind of like video message? Do you send that type of thing out? I did it at Thanksgiving, and it was I had a lot of people respond, and they were like, oh, that was so nice. So
I haven't
thinking about doing it for Christmas, but yeah, it's just like a quick, hey, wishing you and your family a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And then I sent it to for Thanksgiving, I sent it to I swear it was like 200 people. And I don't know, it seemed to be good feedback. So
that's
cool. Personal touch to an email. So a video attachment in an email is a little bit different than your generic electronic Christmas card.
Yeah. And I sent it to text message and Facebook Messenger. So yeah.
Interesting. Was it through BombBomb or just through recording on your phone?
I literally just sat there.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot. That is dedication.
And then I went to Facebook Messenger and did the same thing on the people I didn't have their phone numbers. I don't know. I might try it again for Christmas, but not on Christmas because that's a lot. So.
Well, we're going to shift gears just a little bit. These are a little bit outside the realm of real estate, these next ones. But what is your favorite movie?
Oh my God. Okay, well, seasonally, but also I think anyway, the holiday. I just love it so much.
That's a good one.
All right.
What is your favorite thing to do when you're not doing real estate?
Oh, that's another good question. I really like yoga and spin.
Ooh, I'm with you with the spin. So,
You like spin?
yeah.
Yeah, I love it. When I'm in Newfoundland, I like to hike and scuba dive, but we don't do that in Nova Scotia. So different lives.
It's awesome.
What book has had the most influence on you?
Oh my God. Oh, so many. God. So one book that I keep rereading is The Coaching Habit. Because I find it fascinating, the different ways to communicate with people and the different impact it could have on them. So that one probably, yeah, is like the most unknown things that I read that I'm like, oh, I really need to keep reading this because I need to get it in my brain that people like to be communicated with differently and are inspired differently and that sort of thing. 4-Hour Work Week is another one that is just like.
Tim Ferriss.
Ryan, have those two books come up yet? We've been saying like every interview we do, nobody says the same book. So
Danette mentioned the 4-Hour Work Week, but not the Coaching Habits.
wow. So we've done like 20 something podcasts, I think, and 20 different books. So This is the hardest question of the day. What is the single best piece of advice you have ever been given?
Oh yeah, just to live today.
There you go.
Big time. Yeah. And it is like a guiding beacon for every decision. Yeah.
That's great.
That is very excellent advice. Well, Holly, we are wrapped up, but we thank you so much for coming on and taking the time out of your holiday schedule to be with us today.
I really love this remote office. This is my dad's. This is how he works. Like,
I love it. It's very authentic.
Organized chaos. Anyway.
Traditional office.
Thanks so much for having me. It was fun.
No problem.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you so much.